So, believe it or not, there is a methodology when it comes to hacking wireless. And when it comes to methodology, I am often reflective upon famous quote by a businessman whose name is Mr. Barnes, who often says, and who often says, make sure that you release the hounds. Meaning, let's go after this thing full-heartedly, and a lot of the time we can do that without being very active as well. So in this lecture we are going to go through and we are going to take a look at the method to the madness, and that's we are going in first. Look at how do we find the Wi-Fi network doing the Wi-Fi. So then we will take a look at the GPS mapping. What I mean by this is being able to obviously pinpoint where the Wi-Fi networks are located. This isn't like a cable that you can actually trace by yourself. So we need to have some types of way of marking this, then go through and take a look at some wireless analysis, followed by finally launching the attacks and against the network, and finally going through the cracking the encryption. Now if you try to skip any of these methods within the methodology itself, you could possibly end up not being very successful in hacking the wireless network. So let's go to step 1. So Wi-Fi discovery is your first step in the methodology of hacking wireless network, and we always look at this in the same aspects that what we do in the standard network, that we need it to first to see what's going on around the environment itself. So if you remember from our previous lectures, one of those first steps that we go through is that process of footprinting or renaissance. All we are doing that here is just take a look around, and I would like to refer this process is kind of like a looky-loo. If you are not familiar with this term, let me give you a description in my way. It just so happens that if you are in a freeway driving down the road and there is an accident, on the other you can see the accident on the other side, but if you cannot see it yourself, so you are required to slow down to see if you can see what's going on there by slowing down the traffic on the opposite side, which is nothing but totally frustrating at some of the road rage or refer to these fogs. Doesn't you remember, you understand the network itself to do that a couple of different ways. So first way is to you can use a passive method. So if you remember, we previous lecture as well, a passive is just sniffing the airwaves and seems what is there is not, and the thing is we are not hitting anybody, we are not trying to connect with any access point, we are just looking on the airwave itself. Then we also have obviously active, which is obviously a little bit more intrusive. Maybe I send out a proper request to an SSID to see if an access point responds. Either way, accomplish footprinting, you are going to need a couple of things. So either you use your built-in Wi-Fi network cards or your laptops or your tablets. Now there is some limitation to this. It is based off of where referred to the chipset, and for the manufacturer, which we will talk about a little bit later, the limitation of built Wi-Fi. So it's not a very direction, it's like a 360 degree from a laptop itself, where I can start using external antennas to start pointing like a remembering antenna. I can hook that up with a Wi-Fi card and start pointing in different directions. And the other thing is that I'm going to need here is obviously an application, and yes, As you see, you get the word from this lecture. Some of these desktop application and some of the newer one actually based of the mobile. So some of the more common desktop application include Insider, which is an open source multi-platform Wi-Fi scanning software, and it will give you the attacker information such as proper channeling of wireless networks, signal strength, if the access point is filtered, and of course we can export the Wi-Fi GPS data out of an XML file that can use the Insider of a Google Earth. And another product that out is the called Net Server. That is again a network discovery tool that used to find the wireless access points in real time. This is a bit more GUI or GUI. As far as this interface concerned, it's a little prettier. There is also this BizTumbler, which does the same thing by looking for the access points, so that we can export the information, and the information in the imported in a Google Earth, so we can look for the signal strength. This product actually got its name when Microsoft released a correlating server tool, which would have been served at 08. So they had a new and net SH command that called google.net, and this requires the DSID, and it uses that command to get all the wireless information. And google.net is one of my favorite ones. In fact, I'll show you a little bit about this google.net future lectures. So google.net is an open platform that also uses a website for collecting information about different wireless hotspots around the world. It actually started back in 2000, and by 2013 they had over 170 million recorded Wi-Fi networks in its database, and other one similar like 107 million, and 105 has GPS coordinates. We also have something called Kismet. Kismet is a layer 2 wireless network, detector, sniffer, and ID's environment. There are also iStumbler. This is the final one. This is actually a discovery tool that provides the plugin for finding not only access point but also Bluetooth devices, location information, and Mac devices. So they have a mobile version is called MiniStumbler, and that uses to run in the old way. So I'm going to bring back some of the memories here. Maybe remember the iPad by HP, one of the fast and real old devices. And speaking of mobile, we have a couple of different products both in the Android side and on the Apple side as well. So we have a Wi-Fi manager as well as Wi-Fi fun inside as a. So there is also network signal info. There is a Wi-Fi radar, as well as there is a MiniStumbler and the Wi-Fi analyzer. And the Wi-Fi analyzer tool, and I'm sure there is probably even more since the recording of this. So it's like they are coming out dailies now. So it's at least 2 of these 3 things. So again, remember some types of antenna, either the built-in one or external one. It's a piece of hardware that we can get look at it. So I'm sure this is the final topic. So sure everyone is familiar with GPS or global positioning system. So this is a very old satellite that uses in space, right? And they help to determine where we are located or where something is located. Well, taking this technology along with the wireless technology, we can actually go and look at the star mapping and look at some of the networks that either we can remember for ourselves or share with others. Now again, GPS receiver gonna just simply go through and calculate position, time, velocity to help pinpoint where the network is located. Now some of the tools that we can use for is includes Wiggle.net that we already mentioned, and I'm going to show you some of the wiggles in future. So there is a Wiggle and have a Skyhook, and Skyhook is a very big data company that based out of Boston, and originally they were started up a database for gathering access points for wardrobing fogs. Since they have gone up to the provided location-based services for companies like Apple, Samsung, and HP, Dell, and almost any other mapping products out there that like MapQuest. And some of these concepts are this application come around from the aspect of marketing. For example, when you walk into a local retail store, maybe Skyhook has determined via your Samsung device that you are at a local, so you market and go and you get an ad from that butcher. But again, using this technology for evil, we can accomplish some interesting things. We can also have something called Wi-Fi, and so we find it a little bit simple problem that helps you to find the Wi-Fi hotspots. So you can either install it or search it out hotspot near you. You can send out the information out their database. So you can also type an address where we are going to go to see if any Wi-Fi is going to available there for you as well. So this is the all basic summary of the GPS mapping and how it works.